Hello, this is Anna Isaac, and I'm joined by Captain Mohan Ranganathan, who is an aviation safety expert. We're here to discuss the two mid-air incidents of drunk male passengers urinating on women co-passengers. The first incident took place on board an Air India flight from New York to New Delhi on November 26th. It took place in the business class segment of that particular flight. The second incident took place on board an Air India flight from Paris to New Delhi on December 6th. I just want to start off by asking you what do you make of these two incidents? Because in both cases, Air India did not act on the complaints or act immediately, essentially.
See, yesterday I came to know that there was a third event on Air India flight from New York to Delhi a couple of years back. And it was also from New York to Delhi, and a passenger had urinated on another passenger. And it looks like it is a repeated one because Air India has not taken any action. The earlier one, it was when it was government owned, but the current two are when the Tata's own. But they have the same staff from the earlier airline. So this is something which is very, very disturbing, because if it's happening for a third time, which means the airline has done nothing to prevent a recurrence. And that is a very, very serious issue.
So a third incident, not just two incidents, but a third incident of drunk male passengers essentially peeing on co-passengers. So in the first case, the woman who is 74 years old, she said that the cabin crew actually brought this man to apologize, despite the fact that she didn't want an apology, she didn't want to see him. She had made that very clear, and they still made her confront him. So what does this say?
You see, if the cabin crew brought him to apologize, which means it's very obvious that one or some of them knew him. And that is why they were able to convince him and bring. If he can understand what they are telling him, now he cannot hide behind the excuse that he was drunk and he didn't know what he was doing. So that falls flat. And what is disturbing is, like if you look at the Air India seat configuration on the 777, there are 3 rows in this section where she was a 9A. So there were 21 other passengers. And she was told that there is no other seat to change her, which means the flight was full. Now, what is disturbing is that none of the other 20 even came to her rescue, which means people, the culture, that's what it shows, that you don't want to interfere because, you're worried about spoiling your own. Right? So you'll rather let a 74-year-old woman undergo the humiliation rather than coming to her rescue. Now, the cabin crew, if they did that, they should have first informed the captain before even doing that. So if they didn't, or if they didn't inform the senior purser, who in turn will inform the captain, who should have informed the company, it shows that there is a complete communication failure and a system failure.
What is the protocol in such cases? Besides the fact that the cabin crew has to inform the pilot, is there any other protocol?
No, unless Air India has changed the manual, from my time in Indian Airlines, we had one statement which said, irrespective of the rank of the passenger, the pilot in command is supreme. So whatever decision he takes, whatever action he takes in the interest of passenger safety and passenger interest, it is unquestionable. Things must have changed over the years, but it doesn't absolve the captain of informing the ground control. You have the ACAS with which within a few minutes you can send a message. The ground service personnel should have received the passenger, attended to her, and they should have also had a police complaint filed and action taken against the offender, which means they have not done any of that. And when an event like this takes place, they're also supposed to inform the DGCA. They have not done that because DGCA got to know 1 month later. So when I say a system failure. Now, it's a third event, which means because you didn't take action against the first two, a third one has taken place. So it doesn't speak high of the airline's training and the standards. That is one. And the second thing is to give him just a mind. They didn't even stop him at the airport. That is very, very disturbing.
And I just want to clarify that in the first case, we got to know of this incident because the woman filed a complaint and an FIR was registered. In the second case, the passenger got away, the male passenger got away because the woman did not want to file a complaint, and they had reached some sort of compromise, and that was again negotiated by the airline staff. So, this brings me to, should Air India be allowed to get away with, not taking any action against the staff? I understand that they've, instituted a formal inquiry, but we don't know what's going to happen of this inquiry, right? So, should it get away without taking any action against the crew?
No, not at all. They have to take severe action against Air India for this. That's the only way you can put an end to it. See, Air India has got the staff from the earlier. They're carrying the dead wood till next month. Now, not everyone, these three incidents should tell the Tatas that whoever they have holding management positions do not have the airline's interest at heart or the passengers' interest at heart. This is a clear case which exposes them, the quality of their training standards, the quality of the commitment to take care of passengers. And that is not the kind of airline Air India was under JRD. And this is something they have to wake up and act. And you can't the only way they can stop this happening again is the airline should be punished and the passengers should be severely punished.
And the punishment that they've given the passenger is a 30-day flying ban. So what do you make of this 30 days?
Now, that's a joke. Now, like the way they did with SpiceJet, they said we are grounding 50% of their flights. Already 50% of their aircrafts are grounded. So it is just eyewash that the DGCA did. And the same thing is happening here. Now, already 30 days are over. Now, this guy has asked for proof. If he has a good lawyer and he goes to court, they'll say that the 30 days were over by 28th of December. So it becomes a joke. Now, an act like this, it is not just unruly, it was a sexual harassment because he's exposed himself, not just from the letter that the lady has written to the chairman of Tata's. It is very, very disturbing when you read that someone can do this and get away. It shows what kind of human being we are.
I just wanted to ask you about this 30-day flying ban. Air India says that this is the maximum that they could do. Is this in any way true?
It is the maximum when what is defined in that circular for unruly passengers. What this man did goes way beyond that, what is mentioned there. So this is a case of sexual harassment, which completely defines that you can go way beyond. And even if DGCA, what they lay down is the minimum, the airline, in their own interest, can go well beyond that. And the least they can do to salvage the damaged reputation is to ban the guy for life or ban him from traveling business in first class forever.
There is this perception of Indian passengers, not behaving well on flights. You've been a pilot for many years, and you're obviously in touch with flight staff and flight crew. Do you agree with this perception of Indians being badly behaved on flights? And do you think that perception perhaps comes from the fact that people have gotten away merely with a rap on their knuckles or with just an apology and nothing more?
It is not. Like if you take the passengers who travel from the south, I mean, they generally take Emirates or Singapore Airlines or British Airways. Do you hear of any complaints about unruly behavior or bad behavior of passengers? You don't. This seems to be centered on people who are traveling, especially from Delhi. Because all the three events which we discussed, they are all passengers coming from New York or Paris to Delhi. This is something like, when I was in the pilots union, the president of the union once commented to the chairman that even a sweeper in Delhi thinks he's director of sweeping, because they're all connected and they go sucking up to someone. And you even saw how that Shiv Sena MP behaved on an Air India flight. And recently you heard that terrorists accused MP misbehaving on a flight. So it is a culture that we built up, that if you're in power, you can't be questioned. If you're connected, you can't be questioned. And unfortunately, even the judiciary, if you're connected, they let you off. But somebody who's not connected suffers. So unless we change our mindset and our culture, this cannot improve.
My last question is, what is your advice to Air India? They have a new management, Tata. So, what is your advice to them?
The new management will have to realize that this is a training deficiency, because what you have, the true resources management training. And it is being pointed out in almost every accident Air India has been involved with. So they have to tighten up the training. They have to come down. It is not just that you can do what is laid down in the books. It is how you react and take action on something which is not written in the book. That is where your professionalism and your training standards come into the play. Same way, they have to realize that the customer is right. So they have to be customer oriented. They have to take care of the passenger's comfort and the passenger's safety. You just can't stay on a high horse saying that, we are going to be the largest international carrier. We have the Tata's legacy. You don't have the legacy if you be. I can tell you that if JRD had been alive, he must be turning in his grave reading about what's happening in Air India now. So unless they wake up, and actually it may not be right on my part, the letter which that lady wrote was to the chairman. And to salvage the reputation of the airline, the chairman should apologize to her, a public apology, not just a letter. And they should also take very, very serious action to improve the training and operating standards.
All right. Thank you so much, Captain Ranganathan, for speaking with us once again.
Thank you.